Aloha guys, it's Joe Tunney and we're here on family holiday in the beautiful country of Australia. A holiday that has featured everything from a symphony at the Sydney Opera House all the way to chasing sharks around up and down the Great Barrier Reef on an amazing scuba diving adventure. Here we are today out in Bondi, the city of Bondi and Bondi Beach, and it's just a typical weekday, in fact in the middle of winter with fabulous weather here, and the surroundings are amazing history and restaurants and shops. To my right you have a beautiful skateboard park. As we come around you have fabulous surfing and even hundreds of surfers out on another spectacular day here in Sydney. And then an ice skating rink right to the side, as well as a Ferris wheel and so many things to do. In short, it's the most exciting place we've ever seen in our lives. We think it's the most amazing place in the world for you to take your next family vacation, and we want to show you why we think the land down under is the dream vacation for you and your family as well. While we're here, we're staying in two different places. First, we're staying at the Hilton Sydney, which is right here in downtown Sydney. 5 stars all the way. It's a big skyscraper with super duper high-end service and luxurious accommodations. Afternoon tea, for example, has these sweet dumplings that are wrapped in gold foil. It's very high-end, if high-end is your thing. We're also staying up in Cairns, which is spelled C-A-I-R-N-S, so it looks like Cairns, but it's pronounced Cairns. And we're staying at the Hilton in Cairns. That's a direct oceanfront experience, very summer camp, country club type of vibe, and both places are really, really nice, and we're going to show you both while we're here in Australia. One thing you're going to quickly discover about Sydney is that it is a particularly beautiful city with particularly high-end shopping. Shopping galleries like this is called the Strand Arcade in downtown Sydney, absolutely abound, especially in the city center. What's neat about it is not only the classic 1891 architecture, and again there are many examples of shopping galleries like this in downtown Sydney, but all of them commingle high-end shopping with high-end dining, and the high-end open-air dining experience is right in the middle of the shopping experience. And this is where locals here in Sydney visit with each other throughout the day, not only for business but for pleasure. And these galleries are full and fun and festive all day and all night. Now, being originally from Seattle, downtown Sydney reminds us quite a lot of the Pacific Northwest, not just Seattle, but Vancouver, BC as well. It's got a lot of history in its architecture, and it combines that history with a lot that's modern. In fact, so much of Sydney is going to remind you of so many other world-class cities that you may have visited throughout your lifetime. It's an assemblage of all that's good in big city world that we live in, but nothing reminds us more of being back in Seattle than the Sydney Tower right over our shoulder. It's the second biggest tower in the entire southern hemisphere. Now, if you're coming to Sydney, for sure you're going to come see the Sydney Opera House, host to about 8 million visitors every single year. It's one of the most famous buildings in the entire world, but it definitely came at a cost. It was conceived in 1957 by Jorn Utzon. He won an international design competition, and he's a fabulous architect, and he thought that this project would be done in 1963 at a cost of $7 million. When Queen Elizabeth II opened this building in 1973, not only was it 10 years late, it was 1,300% over budget, a staggering $102 million. But it is the single most famous landmark in the entire southern hemisphere, and it's a fabulous place to come see. There's lots of shows going on all the time, and as you can see, it's a super family-friendly part of town here in downtown Sydney, and well worth your time to come visit. Now, we were very, very lucky to be able to go onto a VIP experience here at the Sydney Opera House, and we got to go behind the scenes. There are about a half dozen different performance venues within the Opera House. In fact, there are about 1,800 performances here every year, and so we got to see everything from acrobats to dancers to other performing artists as they practice their craft throughout the day in anticipation of their big show tonight. And then we're about to go see the Sydney Symphony, and they have a fabulous performance lined up for this evening. And after the VIP experience, they have a great dinner with champagne. The kids had a wonderful time. It's super informative, it's super entertaining. Probably cost a couple of bucks. My wife doesn't tell me what these things cost us, but it's well worth it, whatever the cost. I'm telling you, your family's gonna love it. But I wanted to show you, while we have a break in the action, before the symphony gets underway, where we are here. You're right at the Sydney Harbor, and that's the Sydney Harbor Bridge, which was built between 1923 and 1932 and still looks as modern and contemporary as any high-end bridge in the world. And then as you come around the Sydney Harbor, you realize that downtown Sydney is right here. Everything is within almost walking distance here in Sydney, and so it's a very easy city to get around in and do a lot of things without going too far, especially if you're traveling as a couple or as a family and you don't like a lot of the stresses of your travel. Sydney is a very, very easy town to get around in. Just outside of Sydney are the Blue Mountains and the Blue Mountains Natural Park. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive. Do yourself a favor and just take a guided tour bus, especially if you're going with a family. Over my right shoulder here is the famous Three Sisters rock formation. There's 5 national parks that are built into the Blue Mountains, and we're going to take the monorail and explore some of them. We're here at the Featherdale Wildlife Park just outside of Sydney, and one thing you're going to realize very, very quickly is that wombats are extremely cute, but they don't let you take them home. In fact, just about everything is absolutely adorable, and we're going to take a look at all of that here at the Featherdale Wildlife Park. So we had a fabulous time at the Featherdale Animal Rescue Park, and that's really what it is. It's more of a conservation park for rescued animals throughout Australia, something taken very seriously here in Australia. Very, very family friendly, lots of cool photographs, lots of fun for the kids. Ironically, right after that, we went to a neighboring town called Lura, which if you've ever seen the show Murder, She Wrote, the town that show's filmed in, Cabot Cove, the town of Lura will remind you of that. It's all antique shop and a throwback to kind of a yesteryear mentality, high-end, very posh. But we went to a restaurant there and tried something we never imagined we'd try, and that is kangaroo burgers, which may sound crazy, but they're absolutely fantastic. Even the kids loved them. Pretty neat thing. There are 90 million kangaroos here in Australia. Don't worry, they'll do anything they can to help you enjoy kangaroos here, because they just run free in wildly abundant numbers. And then after that, we jumped on a plane and we shot up here to the city of Cairns. It's spelled like Cairns, C-A-I-R-N-S, but it's pronounced Cairns. This is where the Great Barrier Reef is. And so we're coming up here to do some diving over the next couple of days with the family. But I wanted you to take a look around. The Hilton Cairns, that's where we are right now, is situated right on the water. And our room here just has an absolutely magnificent view. And this city, Cairns, is world class to say the least. There are amazing shops, amazing restaurants here, and the city is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous like nothing you've ever seen in your entire life. This is a pretty neat and special place. And then for dinner tonight, we're going out on one of those trawlers over there. It's called the Prawn Star. It's one of the highest rated family restaurants in all of the Queensland area here in North Australia. But you talk about fresh seafood, they're getting it right off the edge of the boat there, cooking it up and putting it on your plate. So that sounds super fun. But take a look around, and then tomorrow we're off for some nice diving adventures out in the Great Barrier Reef. So we just saw a fish the size of a small car, which is pretty fantastic. Now we got the scuba gear on and we're ready to go deep.
To me, and I give my all to you, and you're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose and win, and I give you of me.